All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I basically wanted to just cover why go global. And fortunately for me in my pockets, I already have the Chinese version of the Find N5 here, and I have the global version of the Find N6 here. This is all just lucky decision making on my behalf because this was not planned, but we're gonna get into it. All right, both look good. So yeah, I've gotten a question before, and I've gotten it a few times actually, but recently I've gotten it more. Why go global? And does it justify that price that comes with the global model of any of these devices? Because typically the global model is going to be somewhere between roughly $200 or $300 more to what I've seen with the Vivo. And I'll pop that up on your screen because that drives me insane. But the Vivo X300 Ultra is about, I want to say it's about $400 or $500 more, and that is just insane to me. There's nothing I'm going to say in this video that's going to justify that much of a difference, but we're going to talk about it. So first things first, on the left, Chinese Find N5, on the right, global Find N6. And while I much prefer the design on that Find N5, it is a step up. Everything's a step up on the Find N6. But that has nothing to do with this particular video, but I just want to say that. So let's get into it. So over to the left of the screen, this is how you'll be able to notice immediately whether you're on the global version of the device or not. You'll get this Chinese splash screen. They call it different things, but yeah. On the right, you get this Google News feed. And that's how you will immediately notice out of the box whether your device is global or Chinese. Another thing will be probably the Chinese bloatware that you'll get on your device. There'll just be a lot of apps on here that you're just not used to seeing. And I can't remember if the global Find N5 had the Chinese apps out of the box or not. I just can't remember. It's been a little while since I've had this device and I've had it set up and everything. But that's going to be the first thing you notice. They're doing it less and less now. And some of these companies like Wonder Mobile, or I don't think Trendy Electronics does it. I think they just keep your package completely sealed. Wonder Mobile, Giztop, Geek Wheels, I think those three will open your phone and install, set up Play Store and everything like that, turn on Google services for you. Yeah, so Google mobile services, that I think lately they've been turning that on by default, but yes, on Chinese devices out of the box, you have to go in and turn this on first, and then you have to go into the native app store on the phone and look for the Play Store and then install it. So it's App Market on Oppo, and it's different names on different retailers, different OEMs, but on here is App Market, and you have to go in and search for the Play Store and get that set up. And then once you do that, from then on out, you use the Play Store to install all of your Google apps and whatever other apps you use. And that's basically what I did on this device. All right, so it's more of a process to get it set up. On the global version, Google services is enabled by default. Your Play Store is going to be on your device. You're going to have your default AI assistant, Gemini, or Google, whatever Google's calling it at that time. I don't know why it's acting like I've never used Circle to Search on here, but I think I have the AI assistant turned off on the Chinese version because it wasn't useful at all. So then I went ahead and set up Gemini and so on and so forth. So yeah. So just keep in mind that if you hold the long press at the bottom, your there it is. It popped up this time for some reason. So yeah, your AI assistant is going to be in Chinese no matter what you do. As the time of this recording, no matter what you do, you will not be able to get that to really fully communicate with you in English. I don't know what's going on with that, but it is what it is. That's another thing right there. So the AI assistant and circle search, as you saw before, is enabled by default on the device. And you can say your phrase. I'm trying to make sure how many phones I got around here. I don't want any other phones to freak out when I say this, but on here you can say, "Hey Google," and it'll start listening and responding. You see the one on the left did not do that. So that's the other reason. And just keep in mind, this video is going to be a little quicker than my other videos, but I still include timestamps on all my videos. So you skip to whatever part you care about the most. And I try to name them more accurate to what I'm actually talking about, so you guys understand what I'm referring to in those timestamps if you haven't watched the video before. To go global, because everything else works out of the box on the Chinese version. Once you turn on Google services and install all your apps and everything, Android Auto works, uh, Google Wallet works. What else? Yeah, all of that stuff works. The only big difference is the news feed, the AI assistant, and this last feature that I'm going to mention right now. And that's because, and that's WearOS. WearOS does not work on the Chinese version of any of these devices. There are workarounds you may be able to find on YouTube. I haven't been able to get anything to successfully work for me on my Pixel watch, but there are some specific to Samsung watches, so maybe you can get it to work there. But either way, Wear OS does not work on the Chinese devices, and I haven't been able to get it to work. On the global device, you don't have to worry about that. It works just fine. I even have the Google Watch app installed here. I have this connected right now at this very moment. You can see the faces are the same. It says connected on the phone. Everything works. Even your Samsung Galaxy watches or whatever they call them, whatever the naming convention is they use for those, they will work on here. No issues. And I would say that that's the main driving force to go global. If that's what you care about, if you want to continue using, you have your Samsung watch and you don't want to buy another one, and you want it to work with your device when you get the when you decide to step outside the box and go with one of the Chinese devices, global is going to be the way to go for you. Like I said, Android Auto works on here and everything. And the last one, which is minor but it could drive people crazy, is going to be notifications. Notifications will come through here, but Chinese companies are really, really strict on processes running in the background on their devices. So sometimes your notifications may be delayed on certain apps and they won't actually pop up until you interact with your phone. Their devices, I'll say it like this: they put their devices into a deep sleep, background processes into a deep sleep. So things like phone calls and maybe your messaging app, those may be the most accurate ones, the one that'll come through in a timely manner. Like when someone calls you, of course, they understand that that needs to come through. They're calling you for a reason. But different messaging apps, social media apps and stuff like that, those notifications are really delayed on Chinese devices. On the global device, it really behaves much more like what we get here in the US, like Samsung or Google or even Apple. The notifications come through. It's always doing that push pull in the background to check for notifications and make sure that you're getting them in a timely manner. So it will pop up on here. The only one I've noticed act kind of weird on here is Snapchat. Even on the global version, Snapchat notifications are hit or miss. Like sometimes they'll come through right away, sometimes they don't. But other than that, every other app notifications, from what I can tell, comes through in an extremely timely manner. So that's it really. But other than that, the software, Oppo specifically, I'll say that Xiaomi. I'm not sure if that what's the correct pronunciation of that, but the software will be a little different. Like on the Chinese version, Android Auto is just not a thing. It's not a thing at all. So just be aware that on all of the others nowadays, Vivo, Oppo, what's another one? Vivo, Oppo. Let me see. Honor. Those big three right there, Android Auto comes on those, except for, like I said, Xiaomi. I don't know why Android Auto is just not a thing on there, but you can get all your Google apps. You can install the Play Store, enable Google services, and it all works. But Android Auto is just not a thing on the device. But yeah, like I said, on the Chinese version of all these devices, and I think Honor is no exception, Wear OS does not work. So that's like I said, the major factor. And with Xiaomi, you want to go with the global version if you use Android Auto or Wear OS. So yeah, I just want to cover that really quickly in a video because I've gotten that question a few times, like what justifies that price? I don't think anything really justifies that price. It just depends on how much those particular features like Wear OS, Android Auto, stuff like that matters to you. especially going forward because like I've seen, I feel like Vivo is a I think it's like an omen kind of. I'm trying to think of a better word, but it's an omen to things that's potentially coming down the pipeline where global versions of these devices are just going to be considerably more expensive. I hope that's not true. I really hope that's not true. But for the price of I mean, somewhere between $100 to $300 more for the global version, that just really boils down to how much each of these things matter to you. Wear OS, Android Auto, how's that? How much getting your notifications in a timely manner on every single app? How much that matter to you? You know what I mean? So you have to justify that. I can't justify that for you. I just want to show you the difference between the two and how each one behaves. All right. So, I almost wrapped this up without mentioning updates. I feel like they are much better these days across both devices. But in the past, global devices have really kind of experienced delays on updates, software updates, major software updates, stuff like that. But they've gotten much better. So, keep that in mind. I've been using the global version of the Oppo, the Honor Magic, and let me see what other. I've used the Vivo global version. That's gotten much better these days, especially since they switched over to Origin OS. It was referred to as Fun Touch OS, the global version. I'm so glad they got away from that. So things seem to be much better now, but we'll see. But anyway, software updates, WearOS, Android Auto, those are the big differences between Chinese, global, and let your pockets decide how much those features matter to you. All right. Anyway, I will catch you guys in the next one. I appreciate you being here. Feel free to like, subscribe. It goes a long way. Helps me continue bringing coverage on these phones to you guys and other phones in the future that may be released. So really appreciate the support. All right. And I'll catch you in the next one. Later.